This is my time, I've waited long enough. I'm taking my moment, don't matter how it was. No regrets, no matter how hard it gets. I'm going for greatness.
So a little bit about what's going on in the markets is a lot of the institutions and a lot of your firm traders actually trade gap spreads. That allows them to guarantee the returns for their clients and their investors, and it guarantees liquidity to an extent for their firm. And so what they've been doing for years and years and years is they've been trading the Japanese yen and borrowing it and trading it against the US dollar, because the Japanese yen could be borrowed at 0.5% interest for years. So if we're borrowing at 0.5% interest and then we're trading at 5.95 here on the US markets, what are you actually getting? You're basically getting 5.25% return on your investment guaranteed. So that's how a lot of these institutions and trading firms and bank-owned firms are actually able to give the interest rates they're able to give, to guarantee CD rates, things like that. This all comes from the guarantee of trading one currency for another based on the interest rates of that currency. So what happened basically is Japan raised rates, and it's due to inflation, a global inflation crisis that we've been facing, that we were actually spun into due to what happened in 2020. But it could have been averted had the U.S. economy actually strengthened and actually backed the dollar with something like oil, instead of shutting down oil production and not letting go permits for oil drilling in Alaska and places like that, where we could have become more and more energy independent, just like we were becoming under Trump. When they stopped the energy independence and started trying to go green, that's where the dollar weakened that much more. So which allowed inflation to grow to a much greater progress and a much greater rate. So basically when Japan raised these rates, what happened is it caused a lot of these companies that were depending on that spread or that gap trade to go into the negative. Because now all of a sudden the value of the Japanese yen just got driven up, while the value of the US dollar has been teetering down this entire time. So now it actually takes more US dollars to actually pay back the loan than it did before. So what are they doing? They're literally going into the red. And that's the reason you saw the entire market go into the red, because they had to do an extreme sell-off of stocks, and they had to do an extreme sell-off of T-bills and bonds in order to actually cover their spread. All they did was they found a different currency to go into. And as we're looking at different currencies that they're going into and the interest rates in different currencies in these other countries, the currencies are still not going to be as strong as the US dollar. So that gap in that spread is going to be a lot more like 2 or 3% versus 5 or 6%, which as far as Americans are concerned, that we're running 5, 6, 7% interest right now, and is really, really tough on Americans, on top of the taxes that the Bidenomics has piled on top of us. You're going to have to start dropping those interest rates a little bit. Or better yet, if you're on the side of the companies, you're going to see the Feds raise the rates in order to help the companies get back the money that they lost. So we're fixing to see a stark difference between what side the Fed actually operates on. Is it for the interest of the American people, or is it for the interest of the institutions and the firms that are actually trading the currency? And we will know very, very soon, because if they choose to keep rates the same or even possibly raise rates, then that tells us that they're not working in our best interest. And this whole thing that you've had coming from the Feds and Powell has been an absolute lie. The fact that they're trying to curb inflation and they're trying to do a soft landing and everything like that means absolutely nothing, that it's only garbage and gibberish in order to get you to buy into what they're trying to do for the people that actually they support. So as you can tell, my sentiment is I look for the Feds to keep the rates the same instead of dropping. And in doing so, that will tell you that these guys are definitely working for the institutions. They're working for the firms. They're working for the big banks, and they do not care how it affects you. They don't care about jobs reports. They don't care about the cost of groceries being at 25% higher than it was in 2020 and 2019. They don't care about the fact that rent's 30% higher. They don't even care about the fact that in order to keep the same average American lifestyle of the average American making $40,000 a year, you have to increase that income by 20% in order just to keep up with what was in 2019 considered the average American income. And I don't know about you, but I haven't seen any companies lately, especially in the last 4 years, give a 20% pay raise. Um, I've seen some pay raises, yes, in some industries, but definitely not 20% any industry whatsoever. So now that we went over kind of what I would almost consider the negative effects of what's going on, I want to turn and look at the positive effects for the last few minutes and hang in there, because if you hang in there this far, I think the positive effects will give you an outlook on how you can possibly take this and make something good of what's going on for yourself and for your family. But with what's going on, all things considered, you need a 20% pay raise in order to literally just keep the same lifestyle you had in 2019, much less a lifestyle increase. So what does that cause Americans to do? It causes us to do something that we have the freedom and liberty to do in this country that very few other countries have. And that's the fact that we can actually start our own businesses. We can become entrepreneurs in some kind of way, shape, form, or fashion. It doesn't have to be you quit your job and become an entrepreneur 100%. It can mean you have your job and you pick up something that you can do on the side of a couple hours every night, online shops, kiosks that you set up on the weekends to sell something at trade shows, anything that you can do as an American, that you have that freedom to be an entrepreneur in some kind of shape, form, or fashion. Now is the time to do that. This way that you actually make up that extra percentage and then you're bringing in what your family needs. But that's the beautiful thing about living in America, that we can do that very few other countries and very few other people have the opportunity to do. And in doing so, they're going to drive more and more people like you and I to do that, to become entrepreneurs. And if we do that, that's the ultimate way to fight back. You see, while they're pushing their agenda, they're pushing us into a corner to where we have to become entrepreneurs. We have to start coming with different sources and different things and strategies in order to solve problems and find solutions. And then what happens? We become the driving force in the markets. It doesn't take that long. It's not a 10, 20, 30-year plan. This is a 2 to 5 year plan, people. If we start stepping out, start taking the freedoms that we have living in America, start taking that amazing ability that we can just literally pick up something and start selling. I mean, I can tell you people that sell soap and they make a living selling soap. You can sell anything. You can start anything. And in doing so, you're going to strengthen the economy. Now you can start taking advantage of tax breaks that you couldn't take advantage of as a W-2 employee. And when you start taking advantage of the tax breaks, guess what happens? Now you start getting your independence. Now you start earning your freedom. Now you start becoming the person that has a voice in the community, because not only are you a part of the community at entrepreneur level, now you begin employing people in the community. And you become a voice that can make change and make a difference in your community. And with this backed into a corner like this, I see it as an absolute amazing thing for Americans. And I see it as an absolute blessing in disguise. Because if we can be backed into a corner and come out fighting as entrepreneurs and come out fighting as business owners, even if it's just a sideline business owner or pressure washing driveways on the weekend, whatever it takes, you start that thing now, and 2 to 5 years from now, you have a voice in the community. You can make a change and you can make a difference. And that's what they're not expecting. They're expecting you to be complacent. They're expecting you to accept what they give you, and they're expecting you to literally train your children to become complacent and accept what they're giving you. That's the entire spill of Kamala Harris when she says, unburden ourselves from the things that were before so that we can go to a new future. That is a Chinese manifesto communist statement. That is literally from Mao himself. Unburdening ourselves from the things from before is literally becoming complacent. and your complacency putting you in a position to be controlled is literally all that is. So don't underestimate the fact that they are trying to make you complacent, and you have to fight back. As Americans, that's the one thing that we're born with, is that freedom. And we're born with that will that if we get pushed back into a corner, we will come out fighting and we will win every single time. And with that, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you enjoy the rest of an amazing cigar. And like I said, if you don't have a cigar for the next video, get one so you can sit, watch the video, have a cigar with me, and let's discuss events and things that actually affect us and how we can make a change and how we can make a difference. Go to cyphercigars.com, get a subscription pack, and I'll see you on the next video. Have a great one, guys.